How's it going, guys and geeks? Welcome back to the Geek Critique Show. I'm Jen.
My heart's still racing from last night. I haven't got a good night's sleep. I woke up exhausted from Infinity War. Hi, I'm Dakota. This is the Geek Critique Show. This is our Friday show. We're going to be doing a non-spoiler review of Avengers Infinity War. It's here!
Yeah, it's... Even, sitting there, I was like, we're not ready. I can't believe
We're not ready to discuss this.
Yeah, it's... Because there's so much, and we only saw it the once. So we'll definitely have to go and see it again. But we will have, our other review coming soon.
Yes, we should be filming our spoiler review right after this. But right now, let's talk non-spoilers. It's going to be very difficult because there's so much in this film that we want to just start talking about right this moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know where to begin.
Yeah, I don't either. Overall, the pacing of this film is pretty crazy. Just because something like this has never been done before. When you're watching this, it's just unbelievable how many characters Marvel has gotten you to love. So many characters.
You know what it feels like? It feels like, because it's such an unconventional pacing.
Mm-hmm.
I've never experienced anything like it. If you took the first 6 MCU films, phase 1, and cut everyone where they took place chronologically and put them into a movie, that's how this would feel.
Yeah, actually, that's a good way to put it.
It feels like several different movies,
Mashed
vying
together.
for your attention. That's not a bad thing, though.
The thing is, too, you're equally invested in all of them.
Yeah.
Some of them you're like, oh, but what's going on there? But you're never, not interested in what's happening on the screen right now. You're always engaged.
Totally.
You always care about someone in the current event that's going on.
Mm-hmm. Action starts immediately.
Surprisingly.
Surprisingly.
At the beginning, I was like, did I, miss the beginning of this film?
Yeah.
They don't waste time.
We're thrust into a situation where you kind of have to guess what has just happened. You can probably guess what has happened watching previous Phase 3 films. This is a very Thanos-centric film.
Which I love, because I feel like any good superhero movie, the villain is actually so important. And he really is a great villain. You really get inside his head.
Yeah.
In ways that you didn't really even think you could.
Yeah. Guys, before we continue, not that we're going to be speaking of spoilers in this video, but beware of the comment section. There's no way we can hide spoilers from everyone.
Yeah, we can't delete comments as soon as they pop up.
So just beware of the comment section, and please don't post spoilers in the comment section just for the sake
of
this review. Thanks, guys. The characters were well balanced. Some characters got a lot more screen time than I thought, and some got a lot less than I thought. And I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say Black Panther didn't get as much screen time as I thought he would, because of the fact that his latest movie was so huge. Yeah. But I don't think they expected that.
Yeah. He got about as much as I would have expected, to be honest.
Okay.
But I could see how people who... My Black Panther mug. I could see how people who, came in, especially, looking forward to T'Challa, would be bummed, I guess. But sure. I was content with the level. Mm-hmm. The level of Pantherness.
And going back to Thanos, because we're scatterbrained today. We don't have a list of things to talk about. Going back to Thanos, I think his goal was so interesting as a villain. It's so well realized. And being that he gets the most screen time, you actually understand his plight, which is one of the key components that any villain
should
needs.
Have. Yeah.
If your villain is just a big bad who wants to destroy everything for no apparent reason, there's something wrong there.
All of the best villains, you could kind of see how they got there, and you almost kind of feel bad for them.
I think the best villains have a goal that makes sense, but's twisted.
Yeah, they just took it way far.
Which is, they did that really well with Killmonger in Black Panther. They did it really well with Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah. Speaking of Spider-Man, I loved his inclusion in this.
I'm really happy. I got more Spidey than I expected, and I'm very content with that, because he's, one of my faves.
We even got a little bit of Ned.
Yeah.
I love Ned.
Oh my gosh, actually that was... So there's so many scenes that you're just gonna be laughing. You go laughing, scared, sad, laughing, scared, sad, laughing again. You're emotional. I'm drained. I don't want to go to work, but I have to because I'm exhausted.
Speaking of emotions, I think this film really preys on fear.
Yeah, it does.
Not just fear for the cast members or the characters in the film, but it really tugs at the emotional core of panic.
Yeah, it
that
does.
humans feel in times of distress. And it's scary, but you're just glued to the seat. I think they did it so well. You could see some of those scenes in the trailers. We won't go into them right now just because I think you need to really experience that in full. But man, did they, like, some scenes I was just like, how can they make this feel so real?
Yeah, I agree. There is like certain themes that really like pull at your heart, because it's kind of like, you know, if you're like me, you put yourself in a lot of hypothetical situations where you wonder, what would I do if I was in that situation, or how, and there's a lot of that, and a lot of like different results that you wouldn't have expected. And it really kind of, it's very like deep, not to sound like, ooh, it's deep, like it, but it is in
No,
a way.
it is deep.
It's very
deep.
deep, and it's very, there's a lot of underlying meanings and stuff like that I think are really compelling and interesting, and almost like self-reflective of like, well, what would I do if I, like, a lot of times like the characters are put in really tough positions where you have to ask yourself like, what would I do, you know?
Right, in the face of imminent destruction.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not a spoiler to say that Thanos is extremely powerful.
Yeah.
His plight to get the 6 Infinity Stones is just so. Were you drinking the
I like got I got the string in my mouth.
Ew. His plight to get the Infinity Stones is just one of like, you actually want him to, because you're just so curious to see what happens.
Yeah, that's actually true. Like, you don't want him because everyone's like, no, he can't. But you're kind of like, well,
you're rooting
what
for
would happen,
both
though?
sides, which again makes for a great film because you're emotionally torn, because most of this film is about Thanos, and
which is the key to a great film like this, especially when you have so many characters. Making it about Thanos was actually a brilliant idea when you think about it.
Yeah, you just want him to collect them all, and like every time he gets it, it's like it's a simultaneous yes, and then like, oh crap, now he's got that power,
I never was like yes for Thanos, though. I was never, you're evil. I was never like, yes, he got another one. Like, I was just more of like, oh snap, oh man. I don't think we should say anything else.
No, not on that part. Let's talk about some of the characters. We talked a little bit about Spider-Man. My surprising like favorite character in this film, like as far as the heroes go, is Doctor Strange. They used him really well.
Yeah.
They made him an extremely interesting and valuable character. His interplay with the other characters, the interplay with other characters in general, was just absolutely fantastic. I loved seeing him and Tony talking. Tony with everyone is just hilarious.
Oh my gosh, I know. And like some of the pure looks on his face of like, why?
Oh my
why
goodness.
though?
Yes.
Like it's amazing. Like it's amazing that they like have each character staying so true to themselves. And what's great is the actors have had so much time to realize their character that it just, the dynamics between all of them work perfectly. Like seamlessly, where it's like, yeah, that's exactly what he would say. You know what I mean? Because like they've had so much time to flesh it out and know the characters so well, each as individuals, that it doesn't feel like unnatural or like annoying.
One thing I would say, being that the films were all directed by different directors and they have different feels, like James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy feel very different than the Avengers, and Spider-Man is a very young character. It's a very like John Hughesy type movie, versus like the more dramatic characters like Black Panther and Captain America. They were able to balance the feelings you would receive in each of their individual films, especially on the side of Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't think that they would be able to recapture the characters as well as James Gunn did it in his movie, but they totally did it.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I guess like my biggest complaint about the film would be like the pacing, I guess, like the emotional roller coaster you're sent on. But at the same time, I like the unpredictability of the film.
And it's so unpredictable.
And there are a lot of scenes where you're just like, whoa, you know, like speechless. I think that the film does have flaws, but it's so spectacular, and what they've been able to pull off is so incredible that you can't even focus on them. Like you can't even think about it because you're just so amazed at all the other stuff going on.
I'm so looking forward to seeing it again.
Yeah. And I think maybe after seeing it a second time, I'll like more of our like thoughts and convictions will be realized. But because it's just so incredible what they were able to do with this film, it's hard to even say, yeah, like this scene was bad, or, you know, something like that, especially in non-spoilers.
Yeah,
it's kind of tough.
I
don't want to seem like we're just like hypey, so it's just like, oh yeah, it was perfect, it was working, everything was amazing. But you have to just sit back and marvel at what they were able to do here.
I think as a film goes, I would give it more on the 7 or 8 out of 10 range. But as a fan, definite 10 out of 10 experience. And that's what it is. It's an experience. Yeah. This is something that you need to experience in theaters. I highly recommend it.
But it's hard to even review the film in a non-fan way because it's a film for the fans.
Yes.
If you're not a Marvel fan and you haven't been watching all along, then yeah, you probably won't enjoy it even close to as much as we did because you'll be freaking confused. But
in many ways, it feels tonally like Civil War, like the down periods where people are just talking. It feels very much like that, and that makes sense because it is a Joe and Anthony Russo film, which they also directed that and Winter Soldier. So there's a tonal theme going on throughout their films of like drama. They're really good at drama.
I do think that our assessment of like what films to watch before the movie was pretty good.
Pretty spot on.
Yeah, pretty good.
But we won't tell you which ones those are because we want you to go and watch that video because it's a lot of fun actually. That's one of our funnest videos we've ever done.
Yeah.
I think.
I did think that I undersold Ragnarok a little. Like, if you haven't seen Ragnarok, you should go watch it. Just because it does take place right before this film. So, I, like, definitely, that was my one regret.
Ooh, man, so much to say. So much that I can't say in this video.
Yeah.
Like we said, there are so many surprises. You're going to leave the theater just in a...
we couldn't talk after.
Yeah.
I was emotionally drained. Like, drained.
You don't expect the surprises that happen.
Yeah, you don't. And I don't think you could possibly even see them coming, honestly.
This is unlike any other superhero film for one particular reason that I mentioned right after watching the film that I can't mention here. But it's something to experience. And I worry that like if you're the type of people who wait to see this at your leisure at home, you're going to get spoiled and it will totally change the movie for you.
Yeah, it's true.
Because going into... I can't imagine going into this movie knowing the end. Or knowing the big points of, spoiler...
because of how emotionally you're, like, kind of strung along. You're kind of like a ping pong, just getting bounced around. If you know, where the ball's going to end up at the end, it's not as interesting, I guess. You're not as... you're just kind of, like, going along for the ride, but... that was probably a weird analogy. It was probably a stupid analogy, but...
ping pong?
Yeah, like...
No, it kind of does feel that way because you are jumping around. There's like 4 different characters.
You know what it is? Like you don't have time to like kind of foresee what's going to happen. Like you don't have time to project ahead because you're being constantly shown something new, a different new information that you have to meditate. You're very much stuck in the now while you're watching the film.
Definitely.
And I think that's the thing. So if you get that information, it will just change your experience because then you can assess like what's important and what's not important that's happening right now. And that like, that anticipation and that excitement won't be the same. Whereas like if you're spoiled for a normal movie, it's like, oh, well, I could kind of see how they're going that direction anyway. Mm-hmm. With this, there's no direction. There's no, until the end, you don't see where things are going. And so just try to avoid the internet.
Yeah.
Avoid the comments section.
Though we do want to hear your thoughts. Are you looking forward to the movie? If you did see the movie and you want to talk about it, you can share your non-spoilery thoughts down below. We're encouraging you to do that.
But just stay tuned for our next video where we go into spoilers. And it's probably just going to be us venting for a long time.
Yes.
Because we have a lot to say.
I also want to point out something that like we've noticed on our channel as a trend. And it seems to be happening to a bunch of channels. YouTube's new algorithm shift is making it seem as though our videos aren't being promoted to our actual subscriber base.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I know Philip DeFranco's talked a lot about it. I know other channels have talked a lot about it. But it seems like it's finally hitting us. So if you guys like our content, if you guys want to be there when we upload and not miss any of our videos, please hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button so that you do get notified of our content going forward. We do have more Infinity War content coming out next week. Monday we have our discussion of like the records that it's going to be breaking this weekend because that is inevitable.
Yeah.
our predictions going forward, like box office wise and stuff. And of course, next Wednesday, we're going to be talking about predictions for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, what this movie means for the future of all these characters and stuff. We're going to be talking about that in depth, specifically after we see it another time, I think. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to click the bell icon to help us out. And you can always check out our Patreon page if you want to help fund our content a little further and help the production of this go smoothly. Because we have been getting hit pretty badly on the YouTube side of the equation. Mm-hmm. Even though I think our our content is like kind of leveling out to a more consistent basis, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Anyway, thanks guys.
Thanks. Bye.